For this fight, we will be using the Spyro from the Legend of Spyro trilogy, since if we use classic Spyro it'd be one-sided. When Spyro was just an egg, the evil forces of Malifaux forced Spyro to be hidden away from his evil clutches. He was found as an egg and was raised by a family of dragonflies until he learned of his true origins. Under the tutelage of Ignitus Voltaire, Cyril, Terrador, and the Chronicler, Spyro mastered all of the elements. Spyro's elemental arsenal is comprised mostly of the generic but really effective elements. The first and most simple yet effective of the elements is fire. But for short to long range combat, he uses it in a flamethrower style, and if that's not enough, he can shoot long range fire bombs that creates a massive explosion upon impact. The next element is electricity. Spyro uses his electric base attacks for stunning his foes to whipping them around like rag dolls. He can also shoot out little orbs that keep enemies in the air. His third element is ice. As you could have guessed, it freezes opponents solid, but melts over time. And if freezing them is too lame for him at the moment, he can fire ice shards that not only pierce the skin and causes normal to high damage, they slow the opponent down. The fourth and most powerful element is Earth. He has various different Earth attacks, but the most powerful is the Earth Blast, a shotgun-like attack that can act like an automatic shotgun when used. He can shoot it out like a bomb as well, that causes even more damage than the normal Earth attacks over time. The fifth element is the Convexity, an element that kills normal enemies instantly and quickly destroys boss characters. The sixth element is time. He can slow down time to see invisible opponents and increase his reaction time, but it also slows them down as well. And after being exposed to pure darkness, Spyro can enter a very powerful super form, Dark Spyro. With this form, he can easily decimate entire groups, destroy giants, and defeat boss characters almost instantly. But he has only accessed this form once and maybe a second time, and has never entered it again. But no doubt his most powerful attacks are the Fury attacks. This happens when Spyro builds up so much energy that with the element he chooses, with the exception of time, he unleashes it in a massive explosion that destroys entire armies. His normal attacks are physical, using his horns and claws to win fights. But he does have weaknesses. Magic can take his bending away. He uses more offense than defense. But I guess it doesn't really matter since he is / possibly more durable than Mega Man, and his elements are restricted to magic. And when he runs out, he must collect magical gems to recharge. So he has to use his elements sparingly. But he has proven himself to be a powerful opponent. Mess with this dragon and you'll get burned. 100 years ago, the evil Fire Nation declared war on every nation that bends an element different from fire. But then a new hope was founded in an iceberg. Aang, the legendary Avatar. Aang is an airbender, and also the last of its kind. As an airbender, Aang is a master at airbending. He uses strong air currents to trip up opponents. His mastery of air also allows him to use the air for superhuman agility, hopping around the battlefield like it was nothing. But even though his main element is deemed the most dynamic, it has a lack of fatal attacks. But airbending suits him and his nation perfectly since they believe even the tiniest life is important. So it's more of a defensive element than it is offense. The second element is water. Waterbending allows Aang to freeze water, control it, or take out of thin air. Waterbending is possibly one of the more annoying elements to his opponents since if it's done right you can just wash all the opponents away. Literally. Waterbending's strength is its great versatility. Rather than supporting a separate set of offensive methods, waterbending employs defensive techniques that can be transformed into attacks and counters. The third element is Earth. Earthbending differs from the other bending arts in that it maintains a distinct balance between offense and defense capability, and is no doubt the strongest of the four elements. With his bending, our Aang can move the earth beneath him or his opponent. The last element in Aang's elemental arsenal is fire. Anyone who bends fire uses their chi as a source for their bending. The facet of firebending is a sharp contrast to the earthbending arts, which manipulate already present sources of their element. Though firebenders can control or enhance flames nearby, unlike earthbending arts, firebending has few defensive moves aside from blocking and dodging, although master firebenders are able to create walls of fire to absorb incoming attacks or shoot down approaching projectiles. Firebending even allows Aang to deflect lightning. If Aang needs to, he can take away the bending powers of other benders or enter the Avatar state. In this state, Aang can control all the elements at once without the use of his arms, and can access 10,000 years worth of knowledge from the past Avatars. Speaking of arms, let's get to his weaknesses. For one thing, if a bender's arms are destroyed or restrained, they cannot bend any kind of element until the arms are healed or free. Like I said earlier, he doesn't like killing any living creature. He can't truly fly without his flying bison, his staff, or not in the Avatar state, and is only restrained to 4 elements. With that said, Aang is still a powerful fighter. He defeated entire armies and even defeated the Fire Lord all by himself. With that said, it's time to see who will win, Spyro or Aang.
Fight!
So why did Aang win? Well, for one thing, Aang held more of an advantage, so you don't get confused, let me explain. Spyro defeated Malefor, but not alone. Aang defeated the Fire Lord all on his own when the Fire Lord had the power of Sozin's Comet. And anyone who is a fan of The Last Airbender knows that Sozin's Comet-powered firebenders are insanely strong, and he defeated him all on his own. Spyro breathes out his elements, but Aang can control the world around him. And plus, Aang's attacks are mostly long-range to no extent, while Spyro's attacks are limited to close and limited long range. Aang was even capable of counteracting the Fury attacks by ducking into Earth-made barriers and shields. And yet again, Sozin's Comet-powered Fire Lord couldn't easily penetrate these shields. Aang is also able to access the knowledge of 10,000 years worth of avatars, but in the end, when Spyro ran out of magic, which gave Aang the opportunity to finish the fight, the winner is Aang.